such a pleasure to communicate with each and every one of you guys. You are knowledged up, you're learning, heck, you're learning about pituitaries, parathyroids. You guys are getting it down so well. Medical doctors are a little frustrated talking to you guys because you know what's up, you know how to get remedy. You're systemically acidic, sweetheart. That's it, plain and simple. Also, I must add, I have lupus, Sjogren's syndrome, swollen lymph. Well, what are you telling me here? Anemia. And now I'm being told the lupus is affecting my kidney. Did you get that, guys? She was told now that her lupus is affecting her kidney. All right? Remember I said one time that medical doctors tend to work at the ass end of the donkey, no offense? This is a good example. How about we turn that around to make it truthful? This is not a truthful sentence. For her it is, but not for the medical community. This is how they look at things, back asswards. It's the kidney that's causing the lupus, or what their diagnosis of lupus is, systemic. It's the kidney that's the problem. That's just creating a syndrome that they call lupus. It's the kidney that's not filtering your lymphatic system. It's your acids that are backing up from that, and that's causing the word inflammation. We can stamp lupus, we can stamp, it doesn't matter. We can stamp Lyme's on it, we can stamp fibromyalgia on it. Who cares? Because the remedy for all three, four, are all the same. You fix your, and you see how your kidney's involved? Now he's getting to your problem. Finally, he's seeing your problem. Of course, he didn't know what to do about it, but he's seeing where the problem is. But he thinks that your disease created the problem. These guys need to totally reverse their thinking, and then they'll be home. You know, the kidney and adrenal glands, guys, those are the problems first, then the other symptoms.
Do you realize in the average doctor's appointment, a doctor cuts a person off within the first 18 seconds? They're not interested in your issues. They don't care that your dad died. They don't care the emotional things that are going on. They don't even necessarily care. And I'm not saying they don't care. I'm saying they don't have the answer for that. They have a prescription pad. And I will say that I think there are a lot of doctors that got into it to help people, but the way they were trained and the things they were taught suck them into a side that limits them. Exactly. It limits them. It limits what they can do.
I still have medical doctors tell my clients that you shouldn't eat fruits and vegetables. I mean, where did these people come from? Shouldn't have fruits and vegetables? What should you have? You know, dead animals, dried up beans that have enzyme inhibitors and high phytic acid. What kind of food would you eat on the planet to be healthy? I mean, if you medical doctors don't get with it, you need to resign and go somewhere else, because we're coming, and raw foods is the key. And, thanks to Dr. Oz and some other docs, even though medical doctors have come a long way in their understanding of the raw foods. Naturopaths have always been raw foodists. Now, there's some maybe not so raw out there nowadays. Keep in mind that when I'm using the word, I'm only reflecting what medical doctors are throwing out to the public in terms of terminology, when in reality, there's no such thing. It's a word meaning damage of a cell by acids, the mutation of a cell. Funny word for that, isn't it? Well, what's doing that? You know, the trouble with this whole concept of diseases is that it takes your power away and gives it to them. And of course, they don't know what to do with it, so they make hideous things like, oh, it's your autoimmune problem. It's your age. Everybody has that problem. All that kind of crap. See, we medical doctors want to put that responsibility out of your hands into theirs or someone else's. And of course, they've learned that if they put it in their hands, you're going to get sued. So now it's autoimmune. It's beyond them even. We're going to put the responsibility flat on you, because you're creating this, and there's no one else in your life that you can turn to fix it. They told me to seriously eat McDonald's potato chips for the salt to help my adrenals. Which is a joke. Yep, it sure is. It's the same thing they tell my dad, who just believes whatever the doctors say. Isn't it sad? It's sad. But That's why you guys are so important, to develop your knowingness, your truth, your power, as well as your joy, and stand tall and strong. You be the cause. You don't let other people come in and wipe you and blow you around like a leaf in the wind, and pull you here emotionally and pull you there emotionally. Don't let medical doctors pull you. Don't let medical doctors fill you full of fear. Don't let naturopaths fill you full of fear. Don't let anybody fill you full of fear. You be strong. The buck stops with you. You are here because God put you here. You are here because you're a piece of God. Realize that and accept your divinity. Because you're a piece of God. You're not something God created separate. Can't do that. It's all in the all. It can't create something outside of itself. Hasn't that ability because it's all things. So you can't create something. If you're everything, you can't create something outside of that because there's nothing outside of that. It's inclusive. Now, doctors have told her there's no hope. You know why? Because wrong doctors. And the problem is they're using doctors in front of their names, and they don't know how to help somebody like this. They can't even tell you. They're saying it's some genetic disease. Well, it's true in the sense that genetics is probably involved, but genetics is a weak cell, not disease. But what causes weaknesses of cells? What side of chemistry breaks down and weakens cells? It isn't base, so what does that leave? Only one other side. Huh. That's tough. Okay. So they're telling her she'll be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. And I love it when people give that kind of message out there. No wonder this world is stagnant. Because there's no hope. So you know what that means? That means you guys have a more important role than ever before, doesn't it? To inform these sleeping people that we can get these young people out of chairs. We can get older people out of chairs. We can rebuild anything. Look at the man that fell out of, I call him, that fell out of the sky. His parachute didn't open. If anybody can rebuild themselves from broken backs and bones all over the place, okay? So the same thing. You go after it the same way, whether it's trauma or atrophy from acid just sitting there chewing on you. I know there must be a way. There is a way, and I would love for her and her mother to hear some good news, because doctors have a habit of making you depressed. You know why? Because they don't know. You're going to medical doctors. They only treat diseases with pharmaceuticals. Well, if you wake up and you realize diseases as an illusionary concept created by them, you realize that whole house is a closed house of insanity. And then at best, we're lucky to get stabilization and some good help at ERs, and perhaps there's some mighty fine surgeons out there. But outside of that, this is a nightmare at all levels, and it's just got to stop. And you guys are part of this, bringing awareness and truth to a very dark planet. You know, there's a darkness here on this planet of unconsciousness, and you guys are the light bearers. And I can see you looking through the camera. What do we do when we see a swelling in any area of the body? You know immediately that you have a systemic problem. The problem with medical doctors, they go right to the problem. Oh, what's wrong with this area here? That is the mind. The mind says, oh, look at this problem right here. Soul, consciousness, pulls back and goes, oh, what's connecting link to that area, and what is the problem? I can see all of it now because I've pulled back from my mind, from thinking, and I've used my awareness to use my mind to overview. So then you can see, and that's the problem with a lot of intellectualism and intellectual sciences that have gone beyond science. Now they're beyond science, fluttering in fields of dreams, and not the kind of dreams anybody on this planet would want to have. So this is the area we've got to understand: acidosis, the lymphatic system, and what all that means, and the connection of the urinary tract system to that, the connection of the integumentary system, the skin, the whole 9 yards to that. Why? What? How's the body set up? Why? What is it? You know, cells and fluids and the processes of feeding the cell. If you look at the body, mostly it is the processes of keeping the cells healthy because they make up the structure and function of the human body. You know, when you're with a doctor and he isn't doing it and getting your kids or you well, change docs. If you buy this, that there's nothing you can do for them and they have to live this way, then you just sunk down and lost your power. Someone has stole your power from you, whether it's a medical doctor, whoever, and now they're dictating to you what you can or can't do, or your children. I say take that mantle off and start getting with the reality of God and the fact that there's a remedy for every single thing, because it's simply reversing how you're creating this. Man's creating these problems. They're not flying in from some illusionary place that medical doctors made up. I've been dealing with retinitis pigmentosa for years. Doctors say it's incurable. Doctors... This is the problem. Notice every single thing is incurable. Notice that? You guys are the one group in this world that is showing them the truth. You guys are the one main group in this whole planet that's showing them the truth. That all of this is highly reversible stuff. Oh, absolutely. You know, they're stuck on this protein thing, and they see the protein problems. It's right in their face. A cancer cell is nothing but a cell with massive proteins attached to it and mucus. It's just they see it, but they don't compute. It does not compute. And putting someone, I have a medical doctor that sent me all his cancer people. He's a great guy. He's an MD, but he's holistically minded. But he always puts his patients on a high-protein diet. Now, get this. Always, and always, the cancer people's markers go wham! He freaks out, and that sends him over. Almost every time, instead of, wait a minute, and I keep saying, protein diet, no, 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 no. So, it just can't wake up to that. But every time he does, their cancer markers skyrocket, and that's when they pull the freak out, and then I have to deal with it. But they just can't compute that. And it's like, come on. Sometimes we learn illusion, we learn falsehoods, we don't learn the truth. We learn propaganda, we learn theories as if they were actualities. That's not true. We can't live that way anymore. Humans are about dead on the planet. You can't live that way anymore. We have to live on truth. And I think you're seeing that shift. A doctor told me very plainly he refuses to treat me, and if I want to die of cancer, he can't be held responsible. See the trick? If you're not going to let me cut it out or give you chemo or radiation, I'm not going to be responsible if you die. Another scare tactic. How about the fact that, statistically speaking, she has a far better chance to live if she does this the right way by 90% than if she does your way with chemo and radiation, because the chemo and radiation is going to eventually pop up cancer all over the place because the acids damage cells all over the place. Alternative medicine is medical, not naturopathic. We are the original healers on the planet, so we're not alternative. Medical's alternative, because if we can't get you, they're the only ones left with surgeries and things like that. If they try to treat, then you're in real trouble. So you only go to them when you're seriously in trouble. And that's for surgeries and ERs and stuff like that. If you're seeking health, you don't go to medical doctors. Those are for people that have serious problems like car accidents, you have the ER, and you have surgeries. But general practitioners, they play in the world of dreams and illusions. They play in the world of diseases and things like this. And although one might think this is simplistic, let me tell you, you can do a lot of study in that world, and pretty soon you realize it's all an illusion. Without the awareness of the lymphatic system and how it uses the kidneys and the skin as its major eliminative organs, what would the skin sweat for? Just to be funny? You sweat just for the heck of it? There's a reason for everything. Why do you urinate? What's in urination? And this is a sad thing, because when you do start filtering, medical doctors say you caught an infection. They don't understand the role of the kidneys in the great lymphatic system. And until they do, the ignorance is just gut-wrenching. You know, I was telling you I had a, I really like this guy. He's a good medical doctor. He's got a great wife, too. She came to class. I invited him to class. He was out buying real estate or something, but I told you he came into my office one day and gave me a big hug. Now, he's from Canada, and he gave me a big hug, and he said, my God, I just cured a lymphedema case. I said, good, that's cool stuff. He says, we don't cure lymphedema. He says, I did. And he said, I'm in with 7 or so other practitioners. And he said, they just can't believe it. And I thought, how great is that? How great is his heart now? Because he helped someone cure something. That's not medical thinking. So if you can become a medical doctor, and I have a lot of good friends that are in the natural side of medical. And so I would say, be a medical doctor that uses herbs and detoxification.